Hey guys, today I'm going to review the i5 Go Bar Kensei. This is a new dongle DAC from i5 which costs a whopping $449. Before I start the review, I want to say huge thanks to i5 for the review unit, but all the thoughts and opinions you're about to hear are my own. Please check them out below via the unaffiliated link to i5. Before I tell what's inside the box, let me tell you about the Go Bar Kensei is about. Hey guys, quick break over here. 94% of the people watching this video aren't subscribed, so I would really appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button and also like my video. That really helps me out a lot, and it helps me to bring out more reviews to you, and you can also stay updated for all the latest product reviews I bring. So yeah, back to the video. Kensei in Japanese means swordsman, which is a title given to someone who has gained elite level of skills on swordsmanship. This is not to be confused with Kenshi, which means swordsman. Miyamoto Musashi, who you might have heard of, about from games such as Onimusha, or if you have read the Japanese comics or manga Vagabond, which is by Takehiko Inoue, where the main character was based on Miyamoto Musashi. Yes, he was one of the most famous Kensei in Japanese culture. Sorry for butchering all the name. When you open the box of the Go Bar Kensei, you are greeted with this fantastic bamboo box, which has some traditional engravings on it, and this holder wherein you can push it, pull it, and you get the Go Bar Kensei, and you get all your documents and details below. While most don't even care about it, but it certainly adds a fantastic touch to the unboxing experience. When you open the box, you get the DAC, and below it is a pouch which has the cables. You get one small USB-C cable with a USB-A converter and a C2 lightning cable for people using old iPhones. I would say the accessories package is really awesome as it gives everything. But I personally do not like the case, which has a belt loop around it. It just doesn't go well with the DAC. I would have preferred a better case which can hold the DAC and the IM of your choice along with the cables. Something which you get with SimGot IMs or something like that. Also for the price, I would have liked if i5 would have included a case for the DAC. Not the big case, but rather a case which I could put the DAC inside, which is included with the likes of Fiio KA17. Now coming to the DAC, it has this fantastic build quality. It is entirely made out of stainless steel. It is made out of Japanese stainless steel. The build quality is fantastic and feels so premium. It's almost like a showpiece. I'm not kidding. The stainless steel build quality also has drawbacks, as that it catches a lot of fingerprints very easily. While I love the stainless steel body and the heft it has, but it does scratch easily, and hence I would have loved a case included inside the box, like a case which I could put the DAC inside. While the build quality and weight does invoke confidence in me, but it's a bit too heavy for daily use, and the weight can tug on your IEMs and could cause some strains on your USB-C port too, and the USB-C cable you are using, just to keep in mind. Now well, all the negatives ends over here, because from here on out it's all uphill for the Go Bar Kensei. Let's talk about the tech inside the Kensei. It has the same Cirrus Logic DAC as a regular Go Bar. It has PCM up to 32-bit 384 kHz, native DSD up to DSD256, 2x DSD, and it has full MQA decoding. It has the K2HD tech, which was developed by JVC Kenwood. It is basically a setting which upscales your MP3 files. We'll talk about it in detail in the sound section. It has a fantastic Xbass and Xspace Plus mode, which i5 is famous for. It also has 4 filters: Bit Perfect, GTO, Minimum Phase, and Standard. I'll talk about this more and in detail in the sound section of this review. This is a XMOS 16-core chip to process the audio data. It also uses a TDK capacitors and tantalum capacitors with a Panasonic Oscon capacitor, along with Murata control type capacitors for better noise reduction. Sorry for all the marketing talk. I know it doesn't matter, but I still wanted to share it with you. It can send power up to 300 milliwatts at up to high gain via the 3.5 and 477 milliwatts up to high gain via the 4.4 at 32 ohms, which is awesome and should be enough for even some headphones. It powered all my IEMs without any issues. Well, before I talk about the sound, let's talk about the buttons and how to use the settings of the Kensei. Well, on the left side you have the function button, and you have the volume plus or minus button, and you have the IE match button. The IE match button is available for both 3.4 and 4.4. But for me, I didn't need to use it at all, because even the most sensitive IEMs had no problem with the Kensei. Unlike the i5 Hib DAC, I had no issues with noise over here, and background even with my most sensitive IEMs was pitch black. Now, if you press the setting buttons once, you will be toggling between Xspace mode. Yeah, let me focus. Xspace mode, Xbase, and then you can switch it off. Now you have to cycle between all these settings. You cannot select one setting, unfortunately, at once. Now to turn on K2HD mode, as you can see over here, press and hold the setting buttons. The MQ button blinks, and then you can use the plus button to on K2HD or off it. And you can leave it to set the settings, or you can press the function button to set the setting. So there are two ways of selecting the setting. Now hold the function button again and press when MQ button is blinking, the MQ light is blinking, press the volume minus mode, and it will shift between some lights of the MQ. You can toggle between the filter. This is basically toggling between the filters of Kensei, which there are 4. The bit perfect, GTO, minimum phase, and standard. Bit perfect is represented by cyan, standard is by red, and minimum phase is by yellow, and GTO by white. The volume over here, thankfully, is independent, so you have no issues over there. It is denoted by the lights on the back from K2HD to PCM. So let me show that. So as you can see, yeah, so from K2HD to PCM. So I'm pressing the volume up button, it is going up. It is going up. Now I'm pressing the volume minus button, it is going down. So basically all this 6 are your volume. After the volume is set, the light returns to the original position to denote the bitrate of the file. So as of now, it is PCM 256. Pressing the volume plus and volume minus button together, it activates the turbo mode, which is basically high gain. Pressing the volume plus or minus button activates the turbo mode, which is the high gain mode. As you can see, the light goes up from K2HD to PCM. Now to engage the low gain mode or the normal gain mode, just press those buttons again and the lights will come down. So this is a low gain mode. Now as you can see, there is a bit of a learning curve to learn the controls. I'll display the controls on the screen so that you get an idea. So you can please pause it and read it. I personally would have liked a screen something akin to the Fiio KA17 or the EPC TP50, but I guess maybe it's not included because the machining process to get a screen might get too hard and complicated, or maybe it might have introduced noise. A small gripe here, but once you get hold of the controls after few uses, it is quite easy. Now let's talk about the sound. I have used the bit perfect mode for all my testing and haven't used any Xbass or Xspace or K2HD mode for the bass testing of the dongle DAC. Before I talk about the sound, I want to say that it is very hard to determine the sound of a DAC sometimes, and it is heavily dependent on the IEMs I am using and also by comparing it to different sources I have access to. The overall sound of the Kensei is very similar to that of the Hiby DAC3 and the Go Blue, the other i5 products I have. That is to say, it's a very warm, neutral sound and sounds very analogish. The bass of the Kensei has a tad bit of punch, which for bright sounding IEMs sounds very good. But for thick sounding IEMs like the Plutus Beast doesn't sound too dark. The mids of the Go Bar Kensei stays relatively neutral, especially the male vocals. It all depends on the IEM over here. But the female vocals has a very nice kick to it. For example, when I'm listening to Ano Umini by Hako Yamasaki, the raspiness of her voice comes across more prominently when listening to it via my Cadenza 4 or EF500LM. Normally they sound a tad bit subdued, but it doesn't become unbearable, especially when listening to bright sounding IEMs. The treble is the place which surprised me the most, because the treble is really beautiful and crisp, but yet it sounds so natural and analogish and warm. While the treble notes of the Kensei are a bit blunted, but it doesn't lose the naturalness of the entire treble range. If you find my explanation of the sound a bit hard to understand, then let's give an analogy. During the rainy season at night, when you sit at a warm place and drink a hot cup of chocolate, and also during summer when it's too hot and you drink a crisp glass of cold lemon juice to quench your thirst, they both have a similar feeling but yet a different feeling, right? The Kensei sounds something similar to both of those feelings combined. I know it's a bit cheesy, but hope that gives you an idea as to how the Kensei sounds. It sounds warm and analogish while not losing on the details so much. The soundstage of the Kensei it gives a great boost. For example, when I'm listening to the EF500LM and Cadenza 4, they sounded a bit wider and a bit deeper than usual when listening to live songs. I found no difference in imaging here, and it depends completely upon the IEM I was using. When listening to the song Nobody by One Republic, which is the ending song of the anime Kaiju Hachigo, the lossless version I bought sounds really crisp, The bass notes are really tactile and the voice sounds three-dimensional, but the lossy Spotify version sounds okay and a bit one-dimensional. With my usual suspects of IEM via the Kensei, when playing the lossless file, it sounded fantastic. But when I listened to the same song via Spotify or YouTube Music with the same setup, it sounded a bit lifeless. Without K2HD, it sounded a bit closed in and the bass notes were slightly rolled off, and it sounded like I was listening to the song in a tin can. But with the K2HD on, it improved the experience a lot. The bass notes sounded more tactile. There was a slight treble boost. The sense of spaciousness in the song opened up a lot. The tin can type listening experience I was talking about exists no more. I know it sounds a bit unbelievable, but trust me, for the lossy MP3 file, the K2HD really does improve the song a lot. The lossy version of the song sounds a bit closer to the lossless version of the song with K2HD on. Granted, the song is mastered very nicely. One more thing, do not use a K2HD mode with lossless files, as it does make it sound bad and has the reverse effect than it's supposed to have. Use it only with lossy MP3 files. When listening to the song Crack Crack Crackle by Classy via my Cadenza 4, I always find the bass to be a bit lacking. But using the Xbass mode of the Kensei, it sounds so good. It doesn't distort other parts of the sonic range at all, while giving me a good bump to the bass. What I like is the Xbass Plus mode on the Kensei is much more subtle and nicer than the big plus 10 dB boost you get with the Xbass mode from the i5 Hiby DAC3. The Xbass Plus mode is my favorite thing and is one of the main reasons why I love i5 products, and I've been using the Go Blue since day one. The Xbass mode in the Kensei works very well too. When listening to songs like Galactic Funk 1985 live version by Cassiopeia, the sense of the space seems a bit wider. The crowd clap sounds distant, like they should, while giving me a good understanding of placing of instruments of the band. The Xbass and the Xspace mode together is good, but it highly depends on the type of IEM you are using, because not all IEMs will sound good with those both modes on. Because it depends on the driver quality of the IEM you are using. One more thing I want to mention is that the Kensei has very good volume progression. Most dongle DACs I tested has a small volume progression, but for the Kensei it's a very linear rise. For example, when I'm listening to the SimGod Duo 4X, the rise in volume is for a very small section of the volume range. But for Kensei it's very linear. The volume rises from one end to another very linearly, which is very nice to see. Now coming to the comparison of the Kensei with my favorite dongle DACs. Versus the Hiby FC6, the FC6 has been my favorite dongle DAC from the day I got it. It just sounds fantastic, but the Kensei takes a cake over here. It sounds very similar to the FC6, but it expands on the soundstage, which in my opinion the FC6 lacks a bit. Also, the treble in the Kensei sounds natural while not losing the detail too much. While both the FC6 and Kensei sound very similar, but the features which the Kensei offers, especially the K2HD Xbass Plus, which is my favorite feature, even with the price difference, I would easily pick the Kensei given I have the money. Versus the Fiio KA17. This is another one of my favorite dongle DAC along with FC6, but the Kensei is way better than the KA17 in my opinion. I mean, obviously there is a price difference, but still, just in terms of sound quality. While the KA17 has the EQ functions, the EQ options via the app, the screen is fantastic, and it makes it very easy to use daily, and the included case with the Fiio KA17 is a big bonus. But I personally prefer the Kensei and its simplistic approach than the Fiio KA17. While I would have loved a screen over here with the Kensei, but after the initial learning curve, it's not that hard to learn. Sound-wise, the KA17 is quite neutral sounding and the soundstage is very wide. But the subtle warm sound of the Kensei, along with the great soundstage, Xbass Plus and K2HD, I would pick the Kensei. Yes, again, there is a price difference between these two. Now comes the $1 million question, or a $449 question. Which one shall you pick, and is the price difference worth it? Well, that entirely depends on how much you can spend. Don't get me wrong, both the Fiio KA17 and the Hiby FC6 are a fantastic device, but the Kensei improves upon them. While I don't like doing this, let's put an arbitrary number for those three devices. As of this review, I would say both the FC6 and the KA17 are a 91 out of 100, with the FC6 sounding more analogish and warm, and the KA17 sounding a bit neutral, while having a better soundstage than the FC6, and more features with the app and EQ and everything else. But if I have to give a Kensei a number, I would give it a 94 or a 95 out of 100. Now it completely depends on you if you're willing to pay a premium for that sound difference. Again, in no way or shape or form I am saying that Kensei is not expensive. It is very expensive for a dongle DAC at $449. But I would be lying if I don't say that the Kensei does sound better than the FC6 and KA17. If you have the money or means and you are using very expensive IEMs or headphones, let's say $700, $800, $1,000 and $1,000+ IEMs or headphones, I would highly suggest checking out the Kensei. Also, this doesn't have battery, so you don't have to worry about it breaking down or replacing the battery down the road. Well, this certainly is the Rolls Royce of dongle DACs, and it shows in the price, the build quality and the performance. So that is my review of the iFi Go Bar Kensei. If you have any question, please do comment below and I'll try to help you out. Like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot in making these reviews. It's free and it's a great way of supporting me. I hope you have a great day ahead. Bye.